What's going on, guys? B-Dog here. So I've decided to make a killer's guide for obsession perks. I will be going over all 5 of the perks that require a survivor to be an obsession. I also have a link in the description for the Dead by Daylight wiki. It's a really cool place if you just want to learn more about Dead by Daylight and actually get game facts. So that's also going to be there. And I'm also going to have the timestamps for each perk, just in case you're familiar with most of the perks, but you're just curious about one perk, so that's going to be helpful for you guys. And also, this guide is current up to the 2.2.2 patch, so if you're watching in the future or whatever, just, just adjust accordingly. So with that out of the way, let's go and hop into our first perk. Alright, so our first perk that we're going to go over is called Remember Me. So each time you hit your obsession, you're going to add an extra 5 seconds to the opening time to the exit gate. You can add up to 30 seconds, which would require you to hit your obsession 6 times. Now, if your obsession is alive, Remember Me will not affect them, so the other 3 survivors will be affected, but not them. And the other 3, they're going to have a hard time opening the gate, or it's going to take them a little bit longer, as where the obsession's not going to be affected by it. They'll just open the gate like normal. Now, the way I would suggest you running this perk, or whatever you're going to use, I would strongly suggest that you target your obsession relentlessly, focus in on them. And I know it sounds, really toxic and just a mess, but if you don't do that, then the perk is almost useless. Not saying you don't go after any other survivors. I mean, by all means, go after them. But if you find the obsession, make sure that they're hooked and you sacrifice them. So with Remember Me out of the way, let's go and hop on to our next obsession perk. Alright, so for our second perk, it is Rancor. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the better killer perks, and you'll kind of see why. It's kind of a weird one because it's almost got 2 parts to it. Well, I shouldn't say almost. It does got 2 parts to it, which is kind of cool. So let's quickly go over it. So after a generator is completed, the obsession sees the killer's aura for 3 seconds, but after each generator is completed, all survivors' locations are revealed to the killer for 3 seconds. So it's not really like an aura thing. Like, the obsession gets to see your aura, but you get to see kind of the survivor's location, so there's no aura. Kind of like if you've played against the doctor or you've played with the doctor. Kind of like whenever you go into madness, that's what you'll see as a killer. And then time for the best part of it. So once all the generators are completed, the exposed status effect, which is a 1-hit down, and you have the ability to kill the obsession once all the generators are powered. So it's a great perk, especially if you're trying to at least secure a kill or things are going well. Let's say you got 2 kills and you're trying to get that third. It comes in handy for that. It's helped me out a lot. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into perk number 3. Alright, our next perk is Dying Light. It is kind of one of those weird perks, especially if you've never played Dead by Daylight before, so let's quickly go over it because it does help the obsession and the killer at the same time. So the obsession will get a speed buff in altruistic actions. So for example, healing a teammate or getting someone off of a hook, that will be increased by 50. So the actual speed will actually be increased by 50%. And then from the killer's point of view, if the obsession is killed or sacrificed, the remaining survivors, they're going to get a speed reduction on just doing general things. So, sabotaging a hook, repairing and healing. So that's going to make the game slower by 25%. And that's actually pretty significant. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot. And not to mention, if you couple it with other, different perks that slow down the game, like Hex Ruin, if you do it like that, that makes the game so much slower, in my opinion at least. But that's kind of what it would be used for. You just gotta make sure you kill the obsession, because if you don't, it's one of those perks that's meaningless if you don't go after the obsession. So with Dying Light out of the way, let's go on to our 4th perk. Alright, our fourth perk is called to Play with Your Food. Every time you chase your obsession and let them escape, you gain a token. You can only store up to 3 tokens, that is the absolute maximum. Each token increases your movement speed by 5%. When performing an offensive action, you lose a token. So pretty much, if you've gotten your maximum tokens, so 3 tokens, you'll get 15% more movement speed. Now that is a good perk on like the Wraith, just because he can lose the obsession just by going invisible, so that would be good for him. He could get his tokens really quickly, and plus he would be faster. Now what it means by offensive action is you attacking someone, so if you swing, you'll lose a token. Now you will lose a token also if you use a chainsaw with Leatherface or the Hillbilly, or even the Huntress whenever she's using her hatchets. That will deduct a token right then and there. So that's kind of what that would be used for. It's just to pretty much give you more movement speed. So again, it's good for even someone like whenever Michael Myers is in tier 1 and he's got scratched mirror, it makes him a little bit quicker. So that's kind of what the perk is meant for. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into our 5th and final perk. Alright, so for our 5th and final perk, it is called Save the Best for Last. Now you will earn a token for a successful hit that is not dealt to the obsession. So pretty much, if you hit someone that's not the obsession, you will gain a token. So each token grants a stackable 5% decrease in the cooldown on a successful attack. You can get up to 8 tokens, but if you attack the obsession, you will lose 2 tokens. And then on top of it, if you kill or sacrifice the obsession, it becomes, you just can't get any more tokens. So once you kill the obsession, in my opinion, it becomes a very useless perk. And I know it's very subjective, so just take that with a grain of salt. That's just my opinion. You may think it's the greatest perk ever, so just be mindful of that. And it also doesn't affect the game in any way. It's just pretty much telling you not to attack a certain survivor. Now, if it slowed down the game or something, or you were, quicker or something, then yes, I could understand where it would. But that's just my opinion. Alright guys, so that was our 5 obsession perks for killers. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully you guys found it, somewhat useful. I really hope it did, because I know the one video I made, it's actually the most popular video on my channel, was pretty much covering briefly some of the perks, but obviously things have changed way since then. That was back whenever I first started my channel. So, like I said, let me know if you guys found it informative, and don't worry, like I will make a Survivor one too. I'm not just gonna do just killers, but just give me some feedback if there's anything that I forgot to mention or didn't put. Don't hesitate to tell me, because I'm human too. I could very well easily mess it up. So if you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike it, give it a thumbs down. Do whatever y'all gotta do. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do so. If you want to keep up with me on social media, follow me on Instagram at bdug471gaming. I'll catch you guys later.